My name is Alexandra Worden and I am Principal and Director of Worden Employment Law. I just loved school and university generally. I had more of a bent for the arts than the sciences. So I loved English literature, I enjoyed history, I loved economics. I actually really enjoyed modern languages, and I quite enjoyed maths actually because of the pleasure of being able to check you got it right. Well, that's a funny story. I grew up in Southern Africa and I went to a school which had a real emphasis on imbuing in its pupils a moral obligation to use their education to foster the development of Sub-Saharan Africa, the region of Sub-Saharan Africa. And when I was about 12, my best friend's father was a human rights lawyer with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. And I thought that sounded really exciting and also very rewarding. So I decided I would follow in his footsteps and qualify as a lawyer as a launch pad into working in development. So I did qualify as a lawyer, but unfortunately it turns out that development agencies don't pay your way through law school, whereas city law firms do. So when I was at university, I got a training contract with Freshfields Brookhouse Derringer, which is one of the leading international firms, and they funded my way through law school. And then I joined Freshfields to do my training contract for 2 years, and the rest is history. Well, the thing I love, I'm an employment lawyer, and the thing I love about being an employment lawyer is the intellectual stretch. So the employment law changes daily, partly because we get new legislation either from the English Parliament or from Europe, and partly because case law just keeps coming. You know, every day we have new employment law cases. So you never know it all, you never know a fraction of it all, and you have to keep learning. And I think that's quite rare in a job actually, that you keep learning, you know, right to the end of your career. You cannot stop learning, and there is just intellectual stretch in spades. You know you love your job when you're working really late and you crack a legal problem at 1 in the morning and it gives you a thrill. That's when you know you love your job. So I just like the intellectual element of it and the challenge of working your way through complicated legal problems and, you know, finding the right answer, and then also bringing to it a sort of commercial, pragmatic angle. So knowing the legal answer is only one half of the problem, then obviously you've got to help guide your client through the strategy and tactics of their problem. Well, because I'm a solicitor rather than a barrister, I'm not in court daily. So plenty of people, when you say you're a lawyer, they imagine me in a wig and a gown in court. Unfortunately, it's nowhere near as glamorous as that. I spend the bulk of my time at my desk. The average day will be a combination of meetings with clients, phone calls, providing legal advice to clients, and that might be in writing or it might be verbal. What I would say to a young person who was considering a degree or you know, working in law is that unfortunately there are way more students leaving university with legal qualifications than there are places available. So you need to make sure that you leave education with the best possible academic qualifications. So you leave school with the best qualifications you can secure. I would then recommend you go to the best university you can secure a place at, and that you select what I would call a solid traditional degree. Now, it doesn't have to be law. You don't need to read law at university in order to become a lawyer. You can read whatever you like, as long as it's solid and traditional. So it could be English literature, it could be history, it could be economics, it could be modern languages, it could be one of the sciences. But it must be a degree from the best university you can gain admission to, and it must be a good solid degree. From there you would go on to law school to convert to law if you didn't read law as an undergraduate. And then I guess from a pretty early age I would advise trying to get some relevant work experience. Now, all the big city firms run vacation schemes, you know, very structured schemes for kind of 2 weeks, 4 weeks at a time. But those are really aimed at university students in their second or third year. So it's very unlikely that at 16 you would get a spot on a vacation scheme like that. But smaller firms, high street firms, and even some of the big city firms might give you work experience, but just for shorter periods. So you might be able to, for example, spend 2 days shadowing a barrister in chambers. That would be called a mini pupillage. Or you might be able to persuade a medium-sized local firm to allow you to spend 2 days shadowing a lawyer in a law firm. So I think you do need to start trying to get some work experience, and you need to explore, if you're interested in the law, whether you want to go down the solicitor route or the barrister route. So those are just a start of 10.